The spiritual journey is often silent and invisible to the world. Yet, Sri Ramana Maharshi left clear signs of inner transformation that indicates real progress. Below, we let him speak for himself in his own luminous words. Ramana, when the ego disappears, reality shines by itself. What is required is the destruction of the ego. That is what is meant by realization. Realization is not something new to be acquired. It is only the removal of ignorance. Ignorance disappears and wisdom shines. However, the ego is like a shadow. It seems to exist until you look directly at it. When you investigate it, it disappears.
When the mind becomes introverted and remains firmly fixed in the heart, the self shines of its own accord as I. This state is called realization. It is natural and eternal. The mind, which is only a bundle of thoughts, disappears in this state. What remains is pure consciousness, effortless, formless, and non-dual.
You want to know if you are making progress. Spiritual progress is not measured by visions, voices, or powers. The only true sign of progress is inner peace. When thoughts subside, when desire and fear lose their grip, when the outer world loses its charm, then you are advancing. Peace is the only criterion.
If you are less and less affected by external circumstances, if the mind turns inward spontaneously, if silence becomes more natural than speech, then you are on the right path. The mind that once jumped like a monkey now rests like a satiated lion. That is progress.
When thoughts arise, do not follow them. Ask, to whom do they arise? That is self-inquiry. If you do this sincerely, you will note that thoughts lose their strength. That is a sign. When the mind refuses to go out and remains in its source, even amidst activity, that is spiritual maturity.
Do not worry about visions or experiences. They come and go. What is permanent is the self. If you feel less identification with the body, less pride, less desire for recognition, then that is progress. Silent humility is a sure sign than any siddhi, power.
When you feel there's no one left to blame, that all is grace, that all is the self, then you are nearing the truth. Total acceptance without resistance is a sign of true surrender, and true surrender is the same as self-realization.
You may know you are advancing when the thought I am the body begins to weaken. When you begin to feel that the body acts of its own accord, without a me behind it, that is a clear sign of detachment. The ego begins to lose its base.
Even in the midst of action, if you remain as the silent witness, without identifying with the doer, then you are in yoga. Action does not taint the one who does not identify with it. That is the sign of maturity.
You may be sure you are progressing when the world begins to appear like a dream. When things that used to disturb you lose their power, and what once seemed important becomes irrelevant, then you are nearing the heart.
Spiritual progress is not measured by outer phenomena, but by a silent and deep transformation. Less ego, more silence. Less desire, more peace. Less seeking, more being. These are the true signs that the aspirant is nearing the light of the heart.